Yeah, I do still need to give you the audio. But on that note...
Too late. Too late.
We're back. It's time to do things because it's time for Airborne Sealife. We're back. We've got news. We've got stuff. What news do we have today, Brendan? What is the news?
Do we have today?
We do have some news today. We have two choices. One very kind of hypey, and the other is very mysterious.
Let's pick mysterious, considering what the topic of today is going to be.
Okay, cool. So, mysterious. This one literally just kind of popped out of the woodworks here. Slipknot has a mysterious billboard in California and a cryptic website. Ooh.
That could mean anything.
It could mean, but that... Yes, Manuel.
I'm going to this website. What is this website?
We're
this
investigating now.
This
live.
looks like a website from like 90s internet.
Oh, but
or like I guess early mid 2000s, but like, man, this takes me back.
Oh boy.
Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. Well,
so we go into that. Oh yeah, there it is, all nice and slightly pixelated glory. Let's read. We'll read it and we'll give a little background on what we got here. According to the article, for medical injection, that'd be completely
medical
different.
injection. Yeah, it's the new medical journal.
That's that's a different thing.
That would actually be a more suitable. You know what? Never carry on.
It's where medical providers in your area come to your house and inject you with things. What they're getting you with?
No, don't give the conspiracy theorists any more to work with, man.
Oh,
they have too much. Right. Yeah, they already have way too much to work with right now.
Point. This guy. All right. Slipknot will tour Europe this December for a special 25th anniversary trek celebrating their 1999 self-titled album, though it seems like California might come before that. Reddit user Dead and Andrea posted a photo of a mysterious Slipknot billboard linked in the website. We can add that to the video. On the site of Coachella, it says 3 things: one night only, long may you die, and then a link to a mysterious website called You Can't Kill Me. It's been up for a while now, and it's been completely reskinned to look like, and as you said, Manuel, a straight out of 1999 kind of deal. There's always a scroll message at the top that says, pay attention, the answers are all around you, with extra ...
I mean, if they're touring their 90s album, then, like, this makes sense. But also, what?
Are there times it feels like a personal attack of just how old you are? You look back and this is like, I remember my days of yore when MySpace was coded.
I remember
surfing that dial-up internet trying to find free games that wouldn't give me a virus.
Yeah.
I recall when my modem was performing a mating call in the wee hours of the morning when I was trying to check my AOL email passages.
I remember newgrounds.com.
That was a good place.
That was a good place.
I recall the primitive grounds of E-Bomb's world.
Here's my thoughts on this. They still haven't announced their drummer. We're still waiting for them to announce. That? No, they haven't actually announced that it is or is not Eloy Casagrande.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for them to announce whether it is or is not Eloy Casagrande, right?
But, like, it probably is, right?
It probably is. It has to be, right? Like, come on. Anyway, I don't understand. I feel like with certain bands, when the gimmick has been exposed for so long, trying to do cryptic things like this, I use the fingers, it doesn't seem as, like, effective anymore. You know, them trying to do this with like the creepy messages and the haunting and the ghosts.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're like,
that's kind of the problem I have with some bands. It's like this stopped being interesting in the 80s. and now it just makes you look old.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to defend them for a moment. Look, I don't normally do this part, but, like, I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. Like, think about it. Remember
Satan?
when we saw that?
No. Sorry.
Remember that picture of Fred Durst where he looked like he was just like, rapping out of a retirement home? And it was like, what is this? We were very confused. Can you imagine if Slipknot came out on stage to do what they would normally do as themselves? You would be profoundly confused.
That's
they kind
true.
of have to do it at this point.
Yeah.
That's true. I will make a counter argument during the
Stone
next
Sour.
episode we record.
Oh, God.
That's Stone Sour.
Because we'll be talking about a band that does that really well.
Yeah.
But for now, yeah, it's cool. I mean, I do like the gag of it being just like a Web 1.0 goofy-ass website.
Goofy-ass web, yeah.
That's a cool gimmick.
It's marketing genius is what it is. Come on. We're talking about
keep the
it.
gimmick alive, right? Like,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Plus-
I respect the committing to the bit, you know?
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
I mean, they're still committing as much as they can, like, you know,
Yeah.
like to their entire bit. Like, they get new masks
Follow-up.
every era, things like that. Follow up?
Follow-up.
Follow-up.
If I say Tobias Forge, what band do you think of?
Ghost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, not Papa Emeritus.
Nope.
You know who it is already, but yet there you go. They're still
it's
going.
Ghost,
Yep.
yeah. And that's a band that anyway.
Hold on. Did I say Ghost or Papa? Did I say Papa Emeritus or did I say Tobias Forge?
You said Tobias Forge.
Well, that's the thing about a lot of these bands, like the whole masked band shtick. Like they feel it always feels like they're just itching to tell everyone who they are. With one exception.
Guar.
Hint.
Oh.
Yes, Guar. No, but that's
No, you just do a TED Talk in that case.
That's a discussion for
Later.
for next episode. Yes. Today, what are we talking about today, Yusuf?
Yeah, man. Well, what the fuck are we talking about today?
I don't know, Brendan. What are we talking about today?
I don't know. Like, I literally don't know. Like, we picked that you really got hyped up on this.
All right,
And oh god.
so let me tell a bit of a story. Many years ago, when I was but a lad,
But a wee
I was
boy.
living at the top floor of a frat house with a bunch of weird artists
in MIT.
and in MIT. And one of these weird artists happened to be Gavin Wallace Aylesworth of Bent Knee.
Yeah.
Name drop. Gavin's a cool dude, as are the
Hi,
rest
Gavin.
of Bent Knee. But the thing about Gavin, hi Gavin, is that Gavin likes... Well, the two things about Gavin is that Gavin really likes Kiss and really likes incredibly bizarre punk bands. So I got introduced to one of the greatest bands in human history called the Sleepytime Gorilla Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Sleepytime Gorilla Museum is some kind of a fusion of 20th century art music and, like, punk?
Kind of?
But, like, with that exact tone of voice, it's punk with a question mark. It's
a
like
lot of
it's
asterisks.
circus punk art music.
Okay, look, I don't normally have to do this when we listen to a band, but I went right to the Wikipedia page, man, because like,
Oh, we'll be doing the reading of the instruments on the Wikipedia page as is tradition.
We're gonna do way more than that. There's their first performance. We're going to talk about some things in here. There's some things that we're going to... Oh, man.
Anyway.
There's some really good stuff in
This is
here.
by
Anyway,
far one of the
I
strangest
love
things
this
we've ever
band.
done.
It's wild. It's some of the most unique music you will ever hear in your life. And imagine my surprise when a friend of ours texted me a couple of weeks ago being like, hey, they're back. After 17 years, they have a new album. It's called Of the Last Human Being, and we decided we'd talk about the whole thing.
I'd also argue
Who's
that I
we?
would call this... Well, yeah, exactly. Who's
I
we?
decided
You
we'd talk
decided.
about the whole thing.
Right.
So I'm not, first off, you got to take that tone out of your voice because I'm here for this. You've got to get on board with all the weird things as they come.
Right, I forgot. The role of the state switches every week.
Sometimes I'm excited, sometimes he's excited, sometimes you're excited. And I think a good label for this band, in all sincerity, is probably avant-garde rock and roll. Would probably be very... Yeah. Like it's avant-garde rock and roll done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. But, you know, there's definitely moments in this album that sound like they came out of, you know,
a nightmare.
Well, a nightmare, but like a tiny little concert hall in like a part of the city that people don't usually go to for fun, where there's some guy kind of screeching on a violin for three people. You know what I mean? It's that kind of music. It's an art house. I got you. Thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
In my mind's eye, when I was listening to this before bed, like I had to re-listen to this a couple of times, and like in my mind, normally my brain can formulate like a cinematic thing for like music. In this particular instance, it was more like some kind of man in like mime clothes but no shirt, like painting his face with chocolate syrup and some kind of performance statement. I don't know. It was a whole cacophony of things.
When they perform, they dress up like a circus freak show.
Oh, there you go.
That's their live shtick. Like I hear, let me like the cover image. I will send it to the Discord of their Wikipedia is just like that.
I didn't actually look at that part. Yep. There you go. That's exact. Oh my God. This is the.
What am I looking at?
That's a great question. That's like the whole vibe of this band, man. Like, look, I'm going to throw, like, they just have, oh my goodness. Like, in their early history, the very first performance that they did live, which was June 22nd, 1999, was given to a single banana slug.
I love this.
It's just everything. It's a Russian nesting doll of what the hell am I looking at?
I mean, speaking of bands that commit to a shtick, like the whole any like deviation from the shtick would make all of this fall apart. But they committed to making this kind of shared fiction for themselves and everyone else, and they have not deviated from it for a second. Yeah. It's great. I would like, before we dive into the music, to take a moment to read the members section of the Wikipedia page, because it lists all the members and it lists the instruments they play. And it starts perfectly normal. Drums, glockenspiel, melodica, xylophone, whatever. Tibetan bells gets a little interesting. Got percussion guitar. What's that? I don't know. However, once we get to Michael, is that Iago Melander or Lago? I don't know. I think it's Iago. Why don't we do the things on fonts anymore? The ones that let you know if it's an L or an I.
I don't.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Again?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, accordion, euphonium, guitar, lever action lever, pancreas (parentheses electric). Percussion, triangulum, toy piano, trumpet, Valhalla, Vatican, wheel, and xylophone. We then have Dan Rathburn, vocals, auto harp, bass guitar, lute, pedal action wiggler, recorder, roach, sledgehammer dulcimer / slide piano log, thing, trombone, and tuba. Yes, Yusuf?
Here's the thing. No, hold on. First off, I think did you say pancreas electric?
No.
I did say pancreas electric.
I'm not even asking about that. I was going to. I'm not. What?
The worst part is there's no link on the word thing to say what the fuck they're talking about, and I'm so angry.
What entails a lever action lever?
Yeah.
I think that one's on the tin.
The sledgehammer dulcimer is awesome. It's literally a giant dulcimer that they play with a hammer.
Okay, I think that like when you watch like a Frankenstein-y movie, where like you see a guy pulling a lever and it's like a very distinctive noise.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very dramatic and pulley and like showy and things like that. I think that's what it is.
They also have a song. One of my favorites, "Sleep Is Wrong," that has a guest appearance by I don't remember which member's pet popping turtle.
That's some Salvador Dali stuff.
It's
man.
just
I'm
a turtle.
sorry.
Yeah, no, but like this is art house music. Like this is art like late 20th to 21st century concert hall art music with prog rock and punk, and I love it because those are like most of my favorite music things.
This is the music you listen to in a live venue when you have like a cigarette holder, and it's about as long as like
yes.
I
feel like this is only music you could enjoy in a live venue, like in a live setting.
I mean, I found there to be order in the chaos of this.
There definitely is order in the chaos. No, but what I mean though is for the experience of like really getting into like the depth of what's going on. It's a much more different experience witnessing it live.
I very much want to see them live. I have not been able to.
Okay, hold on. Are we
point,
suggesting they're avant-garde? Where it's like you got to go to Guar to enjoy them live, and this is avant-garde.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Airborne Sealife Podcast has fired Brendan Sloan.
It's too late.
I know it's too late. That would be funny, actually. Guar.
You listen here, Mr. Fred Durst. I don't take criticism.
Oh, I was going to say, quick mention Fred Durst, or we'll get another earthquake.
Where?
Anyway,
okay,
let's dive into the music here.
Yeah.
So there were a couple of songs that we really wanted to talk about. I think a good spot to start was Silverfish because we all kind of coalesced around that one.
Yeah, I can start with that.
Yeah,
I listened to like hear bits and pieces of the whole album. Like I just skimmed through it, didn't listen to it all the way, but I got to Silverfish and I'm like, ooh, gothic. I like it.
Yeah.
And then as it keeps going, I'm like, oh, this is like very, it reminds me of the same kind of, not vibe, but almost like tonal similarities of when the organ comes in All Be New and Never Loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. And then it goes like full, well, in this case, it's like, it gets darker and darker. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And it feels like, sorry, but like, I do want to finish this. To this point is, when we compared the Earthside stuff to that of like, it feels like a Dark Souls level, right? It feels like very gothic, like that kind of thing. Silverfish feels like a Bloodborne level.
This is all I've ever wanted.
Silverfish just feels like something out of Central Yharnam.
It does. Yeah. It also feels like an art song more than like a rock ballad to me.
You know, it's funny. Like when we were trying to pronounce Michael's last name in the band, I was going to call him Michael Yahar Ghul, which is also for Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
I think it's Yago because I don't know of any name that is Lago, but
oh no, you're right. It's just like my way of saying it. It just makes me so much happier. If you could come on the podcast and correct us if you want.
Yeah, please.
I will also say,
what's our email again?
AirborneSeaLife@gmail.com.
Fred Durst @gmail.com.
Anyway. We should have that.
No, we shouldn't.
Yes, we should.
I was also going to say though, with like the folky moments in between, and then when the vocals come in at the end of it, it does also feel like something out of The Witcher.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
mm-hmm. It feels like something like you're just you're roaming through a town and around Rivia, and you're like, "Ooh, that sounds pretty," and then vampires.
Yeah, I think like the way it's curious you bring Bloodborne in because like for me, I think the only real takeaway I had in the song is that there were portions of it that just sounded like a Victorian mental breakdown of some flavor. and
Yeah.
it's so organized and ordered, but chaotic, and it's I don't know how else to explain it. It's chaotic, it's spooky, it's organy, but it's very, very well pieced together.
Right.
It takes a really, truly great band to take that level of discordance and make logic in the chaos.
That really is especially this entire album, but the band in general, that this album is so it's so perfectly balanced against itself.
I would say precariously balanced against
It
itself.
is, but it works just barely. If it was just a little different, I think it would have fallen apart. But it takes some real skill to make something that's this almost nonsensical and have it be this good.
It's like that episode of King of the Hill where Hank wants to get rid of an inspector, so he's purposely screwing up his house in a way where he could just reverse it.
Yeah.
In the end, the guy's it takes real masterwork, a real master to make his house look this bad, but stay this good a shape.
Yep.
Yeah. No, this song is really cool. The first thing I thought is I remember this kind of music from my classes, my 20th century art music classes in college, but it's still got a bit of that rock ballad feel to it as well, which just makes me happy. On a sillier note, I need to talk about We Must Know More for a second because it's hilarious. It's just, I don't know what it's about specifically, but it seems like it's about a bunch of aliens talking about the last human being in a zoo. Hold on, let me look up the lyrics.
We must
real
know
quick.
more. Just that fucking that opening. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? It feels like something out of, I don't know if they do anything anymore, but god damn it, I wish they did. There was this band out of Nashville called Here Come the Mummies.
Yeah.
That was made up of all the best Nashville studio musicians, and no one knows who the hell any of them are. They're all anonymous. But it's that kind of weird, what the hell's going on right now? But there's actual substance to it. So you're like, oh, I can listen to this. But you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I feel like we should talk about Attack of the Wiener Man at some point.
But I can see why you wanted to talk about the the album as a whole, because I really had difficulty picking stuff out because it's clearly meant to be experienced from end to end.
Yeah, I'm having trouble telling if this is supposed to be a concept album or not, because it feels like it has a story to it, but I'm not sure what that story is.
This is definitely one of the more challenging ones I've had to break down because everything is clearly end to end. It's very much intended to be experienced in its entirety. Silverfish stood out to me, but it's still a smaller part of a greater whole. And I think that's what you wanted to kind of get to today.
It's deeply surrealist at any rate, and it feels like an apocalyptic comedy, if that makes sense.
I can see that. Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's almost like when you're remembering something from years later and you went to a particularly chaotic carnival and you're trying to recall the details of it, but it's all pieced together. And this is the fruitless attempt of recalling the events of that day.
Yeah. Because, stuff like Salamander and Two Worlds is really hard and epic and very mythologically coded with salamanders are very culturally important to a number of different
I would say it's very evocative of I don't have to get too deep into the pretentiousness, but it was very evocative of Milton.
Yeah.
Just you could probably score that song to the falling of Lucifer from grace, and that would make perfect sense.
Yeah, totally. I very much want to talk about my favorite song on this album, which is the second to last track, Old Grey Heron.
Mm-hmm.
This song is absolutely beautiful. And if what I read about it is correct, Dan wrote this about his father dying. So this is a song that is, I mean, the lyrics are very clear, but it's just an ode to what seems like a very good person. I had a couple tears in my eyes at the end of this. Just the last, as the heron slowly slips away, his mind and matter fading into gray, the people stop to visit just to say, "We love you, please stay with us one more day." And it's just, musically also, it's such a journey where it goes from this very, almost, I don't know, Primus-like nonsensical music with a narrator to just nasty, heavy stuff to really, like, thoughtful, pretty music over the course of the song. It's just a very special song.
Yeah, I don't really feel like Maynard James Keenan would have felt tremendously out of place in an album like this, or even a song specifically like that.
Yeah, and you can see that Tool influence.
I know, that's Tool. I'm thinking of completely different people.
No, you are thinking of Les Claypool, and there's a couple.
I am thinking of Les Claypool.
There's a couple spots here that would just sound like Les Claypool, El Evil, We Must Know More is definitely very Primus. SPQR is pretty Primus as well, with that goofy filtered bass sound thing that they're doing. But this song, it's thoughtful and touching in a way that Silverfish is, and Silverfish is a very pretty ballad. This comes from a place of real, like, love and pain to me, just listening to it, which makes a lot of sense if the singer wrote it about his father.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the album is definitely a gradient. Like, it's such a daring series of peaks and valleys that it's like I said, it's very difficult to, like, put individual thoughts about every specific song, because I feel like you really have to, like, go through this album many, many times to really pick it out. Like, it almost sounds like we would need to do a follow-up episode as a companion piece to this. Like,
yeah, we might come back to this in a couple of months once we've had time to sit with this record. It'd be interesting to really pick it apart and come back to it and sort of compare our thoughts then to what we're talking about now, because it is dense. It is very dense.
Yeah.
Legitimately, there's very few times where I felt like, you know what, we have to come back to this, and I think we need to really dissect this album to, like, really piece together a coherent narrative through this, because this demands to be seen. This is not something where we can haphazardly go through it the one time and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yusuf,
did you listen to this song, Old Grey Heron?
I listened to parts of it. I listened to the beginning of it.
Did you have any thoughts about it?
I mean, nothing that hasn't already been covered, but how do I...
Yeah, exactly.
It's so strange because, like, the opening alone, where, you know, it's just the boom 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 boom. There's this feeling of, like, questioning. I don't know what it is about, like, the tonality of the instrument, or just, like, the way it was, like, the way it was produced or the way it was mixed, right? And it kind of just goes for a bit. And then you have, like, the glockenspiel come in, and you're like, oh, what's happening here? There's more mystery to it. That's kind of all, like, the beginning of Old Grey Heron was, or, like, how I feel about it is very mystery. And I understand why you're thinking about Les Claypool in this sense, you know?
Yeah. It also reminds me a little bit of 10,000 Days, in terms of contents. since you brought up Keenan, it's not the same thing as 10,000 Days, but it's about the same thing. So the comparison's kind of inevitable.
Yeah. The other thing too is just like the way the song is structured and the way it builds. There's never, I guess not never really a moment where it like peaks, but it's so leveled out throughout the whole song that like it just feels like you're on a rolling journey.
There's that moment, I think it's in verse 3.
Oh,
where it gets heavy.
Yeah.
Which I would say, like, it gets more and more chaotic as
more chaotic.
It goes on.
It picks up.
And then at the end, it just stops, and you have that last little, I guess, plea.
Yeah. Nothing says spooky than a good old xylophone lick.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. But yeah, it's this album. So like you guys have already covered this, but like this is something we'd have to revisit later because I think listening to it now, we can only process so much, but later on is going to be a matter of like, whoa, there's so much more in depth and like,
Exactly. Like this is not something we can do in one go. I think follow-up episode is probably going to be the best way to handle this, man.
Probably.
Yeah. So, I mean, look forward to that in a couple months, probably. I think we're going to need some time to sit with this. Do we have any last thoughts?
I don't think we have time for more thoughts.
I have one last thought, and somehow I have time for one last thought. Can we appreciate that Al Evil just sounds like what would have happened if like David Bowie and Les Claypool joined Thank You Scientists?
You're not wrong.
No. I listened to it yesterday and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
You're not wrong. That's funny.
Yeah. It's almost like in the ghost writing of Anton Zander LaVey. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense for this.
Yeah. Well, I need a mental cleanse after this one.
So
just for now, until next time.
You know, that's what we got.
Yeah.
Listen to this band.
Listen to it.
It's really you're not getting an experience like this anywhere else.
No.
Deeply confused is what I would say you will be after this.
Sure, but entertained, possibly.
You will be entertained.
But I feel like
it's going to be life-changing in some way or another.
I feel like in that, like, those that are into, like, King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard, I think we'll get a kick out of this. And there's a lot of people into King Gizzard, but, like, different eras of King Gizzard.
King Gizzard's like 4 different bands. Yeah,
over the course of they're a lot of things.
All I'm gonna say is in their Wikipedia page, King Crimson, it came up in there a couple of times.
Yeah, I believe it.
I believe
King Crimson's also a couple of different bands because Beat sounds nothing like In the Court of the Crimson King, but I genuinely believe. That like there's nothing quite like this band.
They're
another one of a kind that just exists and are unable to be replicated.
And
so just go out there and listen.
Yeah, and we're glad they're back. So go listen. Listen to the Last Human Being, and this has been. The Airborne Sealife Podcast. Brendan, why don't you tell us where they can find us?
Well, you can find us currently on YouTube. Just look for Airborne Sealife. Instagram, once again, Airborne Sealife. If you want to go ahead and kind of talk to us about an album that you've got or some things, or you just want to go talk about whatever project you got going on, email us at airbornesealife.com. Am I missing anything? Oh, and TikTok.
We are
on TikTok and Instagram at Airborne Sealife. And if you are a local band or a not local band and you want to come on and chat, send us an email. We are more than happy to have a word with you.
And if you're Fred Durst in disguise, please don't hurt us.
Or maybe if you're just Cricket from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you should just come on for that reason alone.
If you're Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for whatever reason.
Okay. Before this goes any more off the rails, this has been Airborne Sealife.
We will see you next time.
Live long and prosper.
What?
What did you do?